Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into episode 13 of the Players Meeting. Tonight's show is not just a good one, it's a great one. We're going to recap the OTB Open and all the storylines there. The boys will unveil their top 5 Innova discs ever made. The wheel of debate will be in full effect tonight. And of course, we'll have to check in on our picks from OTB Open. The Survivor League 2.0 loses quite a few players, so stay tuned. But before we jump into the action, hey you, you watching, listening with those beautiful ears. If you haven't, please subscribe to the YouTube at Disc and Deals Coverage. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search the words Win Dummies. We would love to hear from you as well. Drop us a comment on the YouTube and let us know you're watching. Now, thanks for listening, and let's get back to the main attraction. The one-time world champion, Chris Smith, a.k.a. Smitty, and the Step Pup Master, Mr. Ronnie Unruh. Gentlemen, how are we feeling this evening?
We're going to need you to edit that out and call us the team champions from 2024 from now on, please.
The Kansas team champions, yes.
We'll take that.
But see, it's not just you two. It's not just you two. You had a whole team, and the other 3 aren't here. So I'm doing them a disservice.
Well,
Fair enough, but they don't have a podcast.
It's true. It's true. We should bring that little 8-year-old. How old is he? Gideon?
11.
Yeah. Maybe we can make some magic happen come about Junior Worlds time.
Yeah, because that kid is a little stud. I know you got to do some doubles with him, Ronnie.
Man, he's so good, dude. He's like a little tour pro at 11. It's pretty unreal. I mean, I don't think it's going out on a limb to say he's a top 15 player in the Wichita area at half the size of all the rest of us. I mean, he is extremely good. He could be my doubles partner any day. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he's good, and he's probably the third best of those brothers.
Yeah, all of them are super studs. But yeah, congratulations, gentlemen, on the win of the Kansas Team Championship this weekend. It was a blasty blast. Well, let's get into a little bit of the Pro Tour, and let's start where we always start. What's poppin'? What's been happening around the world of disc golf? All right, boys, let's talk about the OTB Open. Let's talk the ladies first. Really, round 1 ended pretty predictably with Ella, Holland, Kat, and Missy at the top. All 4 ladies were at or near 1,000 rated. Just a couple back of them, Paige Pierce was lurking and ready to pounce. On the men's side, round 1 ended with another Mick Beast showing. Beast mode was activated. Paul was joined at the top with a name we haven't seen much this year, Adam Hammis. One of the hottest players on tour, Gannon Burr, and a host of others were just a stick back of the lead. This was surprising. Anthony Barella, the top player on the tour, found himself way down the leaderboard in 31st place. Round 2 for the ladies. After the dust settled, we had a 2-horse race. Ella and Holland distanced themselves by 7 strokes over the rest of the field. Kat Murch grabbed a hockey stick on the last hole and gave up 4 strokes to 2 leaders. And then Ella, with that strong performance, was 1034 rated. On the men's side, Gavin Rathbun raced his way to the leaderboard round 2. He earned the right to sleep on a single stroke lead over one of the scariest dudes in disc golf, Calvin Heimberg. Ezra Aderhold shot the hot round and a tournament course record and earned his spot on the lead card for the final round. His rating was pretty sick as well, 1083 rated. Final round for the women. I don't know what it is about these final rounds, but Holland struggled in the final round. While Ella maintained the top spot, Kat Merch was the only person Ella could see in the rearview mirror, and she was charging hard. Kat grabbed 6 birds over the last 9 holes and surpassed Holland, but was unable to catch Ella in the end, as she was able to take the top spot. On the men's side, final round, Gavin really picked up where he left off. Round 2 and snagged birds on the first 2 holes. Calvin caught Gavin after 4 holes, and the 2 of them traded blows until the very last hole. And as you can see, Calvin Heinberg is victorious with a $13,000 paycheck. But let's not forget Randon Latta, who moved up into 3rd place on the strength of a course record tying round of 13 down, which rated out at 1082. Pretty fun weekend, pretty shreddable course for these guys. You know, one of those more open bomber courses. So let's talk about some of the storylines from this weekend, gentlemen. Let's talk about the attendance, first of all. There was a lot of people out there, Smitty. I don't know the exact number, but tell me what you thought about just the attendance of the Californians coming out.
They said on the coverage they thought it was 1,300-ish. So that's a lot more than we've had at any other event up to this point, I think. And they were right on the holes, man. They were lining the greens and really close to the action. I think it's great to have that many people out. I do think that they did cause a few issues with play. I know Ezra got razzed late in the round and threw one OB, and then I think he's a little heated under the collar, and that probably helped him make a poor decision that ultimately cost him a lot of money. So one hole cost him a lot of money. And I think some of that was maybe due to the crowd. Ronnie, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's great that we have that number of people out there, and it's great that they're into it. They're excited about the sport, but they were a little bit obnoxious at times. Obviously, you want to see them take it right to that edge without crossing the line. I mean, don't affect the players. Let the players play, have fun, enjoy it, cheer them on. Give them a hard time when something bad happens, you know, as long as it's in good fun. But don't affect the play on the golf course.
Yeah, I think I think the players get slightly annoyed when spectators are trying to talk to them during the round. Those guys are there to do their job, and as you can see by the paycheck Vinny took home, that it is a true job now. $13,000 for a weekend. It's not. We're not talking a few $100s anymore.
Yeah, man. They, you have on the PGA Tour, you kind of have that stop that you could maybe relate it to with Phoenix. Those folks are having one hell of a time for 4 days, right? Maybe a little bit too much fun at times, and we saw this year at the Waste Management how things got out of control, and it's kind of a slippery slope, man. When you start letting them do that and kind of getting a little too rowdy, you might take it to a place that you don't want to see. And yeah, I mean, you even saw there, you saw some of the players speak out about it. This is not a little beats here where you're playing for $400 or $500 or $600, man. These people are playing for tens of thousands of dollars, and even, some of them are playing for their livelihood. They're all playing for their livelihood, and some of them are playing, to really stay out there. So yeah, it's kind of a tough line to walk.
Yeah, one thing I think golf and disc golf are similar but different. I think I like the idea that disc golf is still a little bit rough around the edges, maybe is the word I'm saying. Not everything's prim and proper. But at the same time, I think all of these little hole crews started with the 8 holes at Maple Hill. And then you have the Flamingos or whatever they call themselves at DDO. And now we have these guys, they're calling them something island. So I don't know that every event has to have a crew of rowdy people. I think I think the 8 holes are fun. I think the guys know what they're going to get to. I also think they cause distractions there all throughout the course, because you guys know as well as I do that if you're if the guy behind you's talking and you're getting ready to throw, it's not a big deal if he's talking the whole time. But when you're right in the middle of your run up and somebody yells something out, that easily could distract you or make you say, "What the hell is that guy saying?" And
be respectful. I mean, it is still golf, man. We don't have to be quiet everywhere, like the PGA Tour or whatever. We can still have a good time out there. But I mean, it is still golf, and it does still require concentration on a shot. As long as you're being respectful to the players and what they're out there to do, which is, provide themselves with a livelihood while entertaining us, then it's good. But as soon as it crosses that line, it can get a little bit dicey pretty quick.
Yeah, my last take on that is the getting the whole guy was funny the very first time he ever did it. I'm over it after that.
No, he was only moderately funny that time, and that time was a long time ago. So,
man, we are grumpy.
How old do we sound now? Get off my lawn, I guess.
Yeah. What was the mashed potatoes guy? That was
mashed
my guy.
Potatoes.
That's my guy.
There's actually a pretty good YouTube video. If you can withstand it for 5 minutes, there's a pretty good YouTube video of all the different sayings people have done on camera for the PGA Tour, and it's comical, but you don't want it to happen to you.
All right. Well, I don't want to glaze over Ella Hansen's win. She won by a considerable margin, right? 7 strokes. And correct me if I'm wrong, but is this her first ever Elite Series win? Or she had one before?
I think Elite Series, yes. I think she won that one up in the New York area where they win the steering wheel. I think she won that last year.
Okay.
And I think it was kind of a similar thing where a lot of the big dogs weren't there, and she won it. And that score's a little bit deceiving. If Kat doesn't take a 7,
it's true,
on hole 18 of that second round, she's only 3 back, and 3 back is a little bit different than 7 back. And like you said, Holland, I don't know what the heck, that was bad, fell off. And those are the 3 that really had a chance here with the length of the holes and
it's turned into a theme for Holland. It's starting to turn into a little bit of a theme. But we've seen those players go through that. I mean, how long ago was it where we thought Calvin Heimberg couldn't win? Right?
3 weeks ago.
And even before that, I think that was his 11th Elite Series win. Obviously, we know he doesn't have any majors, and that's still been a little bit of a bugaboo for him. But there was a long time where we were wondering when Calvin was going to break through, right? We were wondering when Anthony Barella was going to break through, and those players can get through that. And I'm glad to see Ella do it because she's one of my favorite women to watch. I really like her game. I love her personality. She's absolutely one of my favorites in the women's game. So, I was really excited to see she pulled it through yesterday.
I mean, I think she's another one that you could put in the category of not being able to close it out too. And so that's why I was really excited for her as well.
Yeah.
She's had that Kristen Tatar chick breathing down her neck a few times though. She's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, and before that was Paige Pierce.
Right.
So
sometimes you kind of, and we're seeing it right now. Sometimes you see some players just holding a whole generation back. And we've kind of experienced that in our sport through different periods. You've kind of seen one player dominate in both the men's and women's game. And then as they go away, we have a few players that'll come up and start winning some events, and then a new player will dominate. So that's kind of been the cyclical nature of professional disc golf.
And you say it all the time. You always say, dude, winning's hard. It's hard to win. And
it is hard. It's hard to win a golf tournament, man. It's really hard to win a golf tournament. It's really, really hard to win your first golf tournament.
Yeah. And with the way the talent is just on the rise, it's going to get harder and harder and harder for new people to break through, I think.
Yep.
So one other thing I think we should talk about before we leave the women's tournament is, what about that dude that grabbed Madison's disc? Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
I missed it. I was in and out of the women's this week, and I must have missed that.
He was in the water.
This the water spotter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't aware it was Madison, but yeah, I'm with you now.
So I mean, that dude took a lot of heat. I give that disc a .001 opportunity to get safe going through those reeds and the way it was turning into the water. But that dude ultimately did what he shouldn't have done, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unless it's 100%, but it's not going to be going over. You can't touch that disc, though.
Well, what are we out there for in the first place, right? If we're out there to save frisbees, put a net up to where you can gather them at the end of the weekend. Do something else other than putting Ace Ventura out there in the middle of the pond looking like a hippo. I mean, I couldn't understand what we had going on out there, man. It was wild to me
It
that
was
you had
weird.
someone in play. I mean, whether he's in a penalty area or not, he's in the field of play.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird too, and I tell you what, though, that guy's one brave son of a buck because I am not getting in that water. That stuff was gross looking. That looked like chocolate pudding or something, man.
Pass.
Yeah, and honestly, I think Madison handled it just fine. Like, she didn't seem to mind at all. I think it would have been some other players. It would have been a much bigger controversy, but Madison just let it go pretty easy.
I don't think she's going to get too upset about much. Don't know her at all, but just from the outside looking in, she looks like she could. She's about as chill as they come. So
yeah,
and she actually released a statement today saying, "Leave this dude alone. I'm glad he grabbed my disc." So, but I still don't think that makes it right.
I don't either. I'm glad she got her frisbee back. I mean, I'm really happy about that. But I think if that's why he's out there and that's the reason to do it, I think we have other ways of making that happen.
Yeah, I think that's fair. All right. Before we leave the ladies' side, let's talk about the lady that wasn't in attendance for this tournament, but Kristen Tatar, who just recently became the very first woman in the history of the sport to reach 1,000 rated. Gentlemen, woo! What an accomplishment. Ronnie, do you want to talk a little bit about what that means to the game for the women?
Pioneer. That's the best way to put it. I think she's the first to ever get there. I think she'll be the first of many. I don't know who the next one's going to be. Maybe we don't even know who. Maybe we don't even know who that woman is right now, or maybe she's just coming up. But I think she'll be the first of many. But to be the first is pretty special for her. I'm really happy for her.
I'm with you. I think it's super cool because we don't know who the first male that would have ever been rated 1,000 because there was already good golfers by the time the rating system came about. You can say what you want about the rating system, but I do feel like it's a good judge of a person's performance. So, and you and I talk it all the time, Ronnie, after a round, we're like, I feel like that was about 10, 15, 10, 20.
Yeah.
And it does have its flaws. And in the end, it doesn't mean anything. It's just a way to judge how you've done. And I think it's a relevant indicator of how a person has played over time as well. So there for a long time, she was 999, 998, just right there. She'd go to a tournament and have a couple bad rounds. And so, yeah, I think it's an amazing accomplishment and yeah, super awesome.
Yeah, it was cool to see. I on the morning of the update, I just happened to click on it and saw that she was 1,000 rated, and I'm good for her. There was a nice big deal from the PDGA on some social medias, and obviously she had something. But yeah, I mean, couldn't be happier for her. And she's done something that no other female's ever done, and she'll be remembered for that just as much as all these championships she's going to win or has won. And her place is forever etched in stone in our sport. So yeah, it's great.
Yep, absolutely. And then shortly after, poor girl breaks a rib, and now I'm a little concerned. I don't know. Have you fellas, either of you, ever had any type of rib broken? Because that's a different type of pain, and I just don't know. She's saying 4 weeks until she's back. But man, it seems like it could be a little bit longer recovery time. Tell me your thoughts on that too, Ronnie.
Yeah, I mean, I've broken a couple ribs before. It's more of a pain tolerance thing. There's nothing, there's nothing really they can do for you. It's really just rest. But if she can tolerate the pain and throw without really aggravating it, I think she'll be fine. I'm happy to see she's going to take some rest, take a few weeks off the tour, put the frisbees down for a couple weeks, finish remodeling your house or whatever you're doing with all those dollars that you're putting in the bank. But I think she'll be fine. I don't think we'll see any long lasting effects, and she'll certainly be right by Worlds, I would hope. And that's obviously probably her goal at this point.
I'm sure that's goal number one. And what I wonder is how severe is it? I'm sure there's levels of, like anything. Is it a fracture? That's a broken rib. Or is this thing like, snapped off, bad deal, fell down hard type thing? And yeah, I mean, but there's no way to, you don't cast a rib. You know what I mean? You just got to let it heal. And I'm guessing it's one of those things that right when it starts feeling good and you start getting a little comfortable, you bang that sucker and down and out again. So I'm hoping that she comes back in whatever she says, 4 weeks. When's their Worlds? July?
It's August 21st.
Oh, that's like 8 weeks then.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
They've got some time. Yeah, I think she'll be all right by then. And then surely that's, like you said, that's got to be goal number one. And she gets 4 weeks down the road and it's not right. Hopefully she stays in Estonia and gets healthy and makes August the number one priority. Because, I mean, as much as we want to see her at every Pro Tour event, because she is the story when she's in attendance, we really want to see her at Paul's place in August. That's when we really want to see her.
I'm sure she'll have that 30-foot moneymaker dialed in. Yeah, I think you can probably do that with a broken rib.
No. I would imagine you're probably right.
Look out, ladies. You're in trouble.
All right, well, let's segue over to the men's side. There's quite a few dudes I want to talk about, but Smitty, I'm going to put this to you first because I know you love this dude. Eagle returns, and Eagle played well. Talk about his performance and what you thought about him this weekend.
Tough first round, put him in the hole, man. And then he played really well on through there from the second, third rounds. It was Eagle. Effortless power, smoothest, most killer putt, just bang in there. So, yeah, and this is his second tournament of the year. I wouldn't be surprised if I don't pick him as my shine next week.
Whoa. That's bold.
A little history in Portland. What did he famously say? I love you, Oregon.
I love you, Oregon.
I'm with him. I love Oregon too. So, the bird looked pretty good, and he didn't even look terrible in the first round, right? There was a little bit of shaky stuff here and there, but kind of more, just kind of one of those rounds than anything else, right? But yeah, I mean, who doesn't want Eagle McMahon playing like Eagle McMahon? It's good for disc golf.
I'm just going off of scores and whole scores. I didn't get to watch any of the first round, and I'm not going to lie, it's not the most exciting course to watch until you get to the last 16 and 17 and 18 are fun to watch. But
just throw far.
Yeah.
Well, it's throw far and throw low, right? When they call it the low ceiling championship or something like that. I've never seen a golf course more tailor made for
Calvin
Heinberg. Right?
I'd like to count the number of Mandos on that course. It's got to be nearly 20.
It's 11 more than I would like to see. I can tell you that.
Yeah, there's a lot. But I mean, I think without those Mandos, it becomes more of a bomb fest. And if you notice, most of them were right off the tee on the right. And man, those guys were really having to. They were still taking that line. They were just bending it over through there. And I remember Gavin tried to do one late and just drilled the first tree trying to hit one of those tight lines like that.
Yeah, I mean, Eagle finished tied for 13th for those of you that may not know. Ronnie, let's talk about your boy, AB. his first tournament outside of the top 15. Surprised he struggled on such a long course.
That was another kind of doomed by a slow start. I think he was over par deep into that first round.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he birdied maybe 4 of the last 5 or 6 on Friday to shoot 3 or 4 under par, and played really well on Saturday. Shot 8 or 9 or 10 under. Really shot up the leaderboard. And then yesterday, just found him in he was just absolutely going along yesterday, and got 15's one of those kind of 2 or 4 or 5 holes, right? There's really no in between, just kind of the way it shapes and where the OB sits. And he did take a 5 there, I believe, and then he threw it out of bounds on 18. When if he just pitches up and 2 putts for a par, I think he finishes there tied with Eagle in 13th place. So
yeah, exactly.
Just a couple of late mistakes, but a top 20 on the Pro Tour is still pretty good. It's obviously not at his standard for the year. And that's a testament to him, right? He's moving his own bar forward when that's no longer a good week. And that's a week we question what happened. So,
I mean, you guys know he shot 10.48 rated last round.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. With a 5 on 18, which was a bogey, a 4 on 14, which was a bogey, and a 6 on 5, which was a bogey. So he bogeyed 2 holes that should be AB holes.
Yeah. And 6 is the 6, the bogey. He was kind of the bogey on 6 was bad. It looked a lot like Paul's bogey on 6. You're like, oh my God, set up in beautiful position to make birdie, and all of a sudden you're like, what are you doing, dude? Just throw it up under the basket and go to the next hole. There's a lot of holes left.
Man, there was several moments like that at this tournament where as soon as they threw the shot and missed it, I was like, man, live to fight another day.
Yeah.
You got Ezra doing what he did on the water hole. That was probably 55 feet, nothing but death behind it. And you're already was he putting for par or bogey at that point?
Yep.
So he had one of those. Paul had
a lot over the week.
Man, it's just like they're putting so much stock in every single shot. And if they're draining them, heck yeah, they're going to be at the top. But the way these pins are set, especially at this course, if you're not, dude, you're just giving it away.
Well, they get stuck. I think you find yourself, and I'm sure we're going to move on to Paul here in just a minute and talk a little more in depth about the beast. But I think just the mentality on the Pro Tour has changed anymore, man. I think these guys almost feel like they have to go for everything regardless these days. And I say it all the time, more golf tournaments are lost than won. And, you feel like in the moment, yeah, you got to run that every time. That's the only way I can win is if I'm pedal to the metal all the time. And then you get to the end of a golf tournament and you lost by a shot or two, and it's, oh my God, if I just did what my strategy tells me I need to do in that situation, what may have happened. Right. So I see the line they're trying to toe, but when we're watching as viewers, sometimes you're just like, oh, what are you doing, man? Somebody get this guy a caddy.
Good segue then, Ronnie. Let's talk about the Beast. And Smitty, I'll let you talk about McBeast. I know when he gets into his Beast mode, you were one of the most hyped guys that I know that, you're posting stuff online, Beast mode activated. And so I know you get hyped for him playing well. He had some up and down rounds, pretty consistent throughout, but maybe some bad mistakes. Tell me what you thought of him this weekend.
I got nothing but mad respect for that dude because he's taken disc golf from where it was to where it is now. He's the reason things are getting elevated so high, I feel. I love watching him play, man. He's a competitor. He's by far the most skilled player I've ever seen when he was on. And it's there. It's just almost there. But as I see the rounds, I think that the scores, but as I watch it, something's not right, man. I thought a lot of his drives they didn't look like Paul drives to me. And the putt's not anywhere near where it needs to be. He made a huge putt on hole 2 yesterday, 70-footer, but I'm not 100% sure he was trying to make it. I think he was giving it the old 50-50 bid and got lucky on that one. But yeah, like I said, I think his round scores are there, but his play doesn't seem to be there.
Round 1, 1066. Great round, right? He was leading after round 1. 1028, round 2, and then 1015, round 3, as far as ratings are concerned. Go ahead, Ronnie.
I understand what Chris is saying about him not looking right. I haven't noticed it as much off the tee. Where I've noticed it is the approach game and on the greens. And those are two things where we just were not accustomed to seeing any struggle from what I think is the best player from 150 feet in that I've ever seen. Right? He just seemingly never made a mistake before when he needed to get up and down, and he made more 35, 45, 29 footers than anybody probably in the history of the sport. And the first round, he was 10 under par, bogey free, and did not putt well. Right? I mean, that could have been 13 or 14 under par real quick. The second round, he started off a little bit, I think he starts hot the second round. And then, he starts slow the second round, and the frustration sets in. Right? You can see the frustration set in, and it carries over to the rest of his game. And then yesterday, he starts hot, and then one mistake, and all of a sudden, now he's pressing. And then it was just mental errors. It was just, you could tell that he was just visibly frustrated is what I saw. He couldn't, he wasn't executing what he wanted to. And then he just kind of let his emotions get the best of him. That's what I saw out of him.
Yeah. Round 1, 91% C1X. Round 2, 44% C1X. That's what killed him there. He was 4 for 9 in C1X round 2, which is definitely, as Smitty put, really not the putt that we're used to seeing from Paul McBeth.
I think he's close. I think Smitty's right, though. I think he's so close. He's razor close to like popping off and just running away with an event. But I don't know. I've already called it. I've said it's happening. And I was really ready to come on here after Friday and chest puffed out, Paul McBeth shirt on, all that good stuff, but it ended up not happening.
Well, I mean, we know you got him for Worlds, so really, maybe it's a good thing he's not winning, because he's going to really want that Worlds one, and since he's getting closer and closer and closer, hey, maybe it's around that time that he's going to really pop it off.
I guarantee he'll be in the mix of Worlds.
Peak at the right time. Come on, Paul.
All right, let's talk about another player who has perked this year, peaked already, and that's Gannon Buhr. But this was Gannon's worst performance of the year, which kind of the same lines as AB. It's crazy that we're saying this is a poor performance. First time outside the top 10, he finished tied for 13th. Ronnie, tell me a little bit about Gannon this weekend.
Didn't look comfortable. To me, he didn't look very comfortable all week. He played well the first round, but even then you could see it just didn't look right. And maybe that's just what this course does because of all the low ceiling and some of the mandatories and the forced OBs and stuff like that. Maybe that's just one of those courses, but he just didn't quite look like Gannon Buhr all weekend to me. And again, you're right. Maybe that's just, his own expectations that he's set for the rest of us now, where when he's not just running away and hiding and or being in contention, we feel like, it's a poor week, when in reality, it's still a pretty nice performance.
Hole 18 got him too.
Mm-hmm.
5 on 18. He pars it, he ties for 10.
Yeah.
If he birdies it, he ties for 8. So I mean, he's right there. We're talking strokes. I mean, there's not a lot of separation outside of Vinny getting way out there in front of him, and he really didn't blow everybody away. He had dudes on his tail. Tight. It's tight all the way down.
It is.
Look-
And Gannon had mentioned in a post on his Instagram, he said OTB was by far the worst my game has felt the entire year. It was the first time missing the top 10 all year, and it hurts. So I think, Ronnie, a testament to what you just said is, yeah, he wasn't feeling good. Wasn't feeling great this weekend.
Yeah, he just didn't look it just didn't look comfortable to me. Like it just didn't see his walk wasn't the same. He didn't have that what we sometimes applaud him for as his swagger, and sometimes, kind of get onto him a little bit for when it goes a little too far. That none of that, you just didn't see any of that this weekend. I didn't, at least. Maybe I was looking too hard for it, but I don't know. But yeah, how about the segue to Vinny? I mean, we got to talk about the dude.
Oh, of course.
Well,
What's Philo calling the final boss?
Final boss.
He's kind of turning back into it, man. You're gonna have to beat him. You got to kill him if you want to win the tournament. And good luck. He's hard to get by. And now he's confident again. He's learned that he's remembered how to win again. And watch out.
And he's comfortable throwing that sidearm out to, utility distance for sure. I didn't see him go any big ones off the tee or anything, but he went to it in a couple of important times, and he got the win. But he missed a lot of putts that I counted before he threw them. I never think he's going to miss. It's just incredible. And he had several that were the classic Vinny miss: the front of the face mask, the front of the face mask. Yeah, I'm excited to see him shred. But I tell you what, there's one dude out there who I don't think is too scared of the final boss right now, because he gave him all he wanted the last two tournaments. Unsponsored. Dynamic discs. How did you let this guy get away? Right? I mean, I get it. Last year, did we ever see Gavin Rathbun in the mix for wins? Maybe he'd make a showing. But look at him this year, man. I'm telling you, I think we've said it before that if we don't have AB going off and we don't have Gannon doing what he's doing, I think we're talking about this guy as player of the year candidate.
Yeah, he's another one, guys. He's going to have to figure out how to win, right? Mm-hmm. He's got to learn how to win, and he's another one of them just ultra talented players that if he does figure out how to win, who's to tell what's going to happen after that? But I know he's fun to watch. I know I love the way the guy carries himself on the golf course. Again, don't know him from Adam, but seems like just a cool cat. And you could, and I felt really bad for him, because you could see how painful it was for him at the end when he had the look of someone who kind of let one slip through their fingers. And you wonder, for guys who have never won it, if they feel like, when's this opportunity going to come again? But obviously we saw in Emporia, he was right there in the mix, and we're going to a golf course that's not too dissimilar to what they just played in Portland. And I'm here to tell you that I think I think you'd be foolish to think that Gannon's not going to put himself in the mix up there too.
Dude's good, man. He's good all around.
Yeah, I actually want to speak of the other Gavin as well, Gavin Babcock, because he was kind of with these boys. I know he made a kind of a push late, but he finished 8th at DDO and then 4th this week. I mean, and he's another one coming on here a little bit later too. So I'm interested to see how he goes into Portland as well.
Man, disc golf's in a good spot, isn't it?
Right?
This is crazy, man.
Yeah.
We got there's just, I mean, the talent depth is unbelievable. It's every week. I mean, this week it was Randon Lada. Every week you seem to have, what's this guy doing? What's this guy doing on the leaderboard? And all of a sudden he's got a chance to win the golf tournament or shooting something crazy like what Randon did that last round. So yeah, disc golf's unbelievable right now.
Remember when Schaefer took him in his pick for something we did a long time ago? It was when we used to do the
pick six
thing.
Yeah.
And Schaefer took Randon Lada, and I made so much fun of him. after he got done yesterday, as soon as he finished, I told Schiff, I said, "Hey, dude, nice pick," and he said, "Yeah, 6 months too late."
Yeah, that dude's we've seen him a little bit this year and a couple times, kind of like yesterday where he's running late into a good finish or something like that. But yeah, it's just there's so many of those guys there's a guy or two like that every week.
Yep, and we're gonna be here to talk about it, fellas. Woo! How fun. Good conversation as always. Let's move into our next topic. Top 5. And today, the boys are going to tell you their top 5 Innova discs of all time. Thanks to Vinny's win, we're doing Innova. Now, for those of you that may not know, Smitty has sent me his picks. Ronnie has sent me his picks. They've also sent me what they think the other will pick. And today, it's not a direct hit. Any point that you can get is a point. So if they mention it at all, they're going to get it. Or do you think it should be a direct hit? I'll let you fellas decide, actually.
Let's go for a high-scoring game. We're tired of playing this Big Ten basketball where race to 2 wins. Let's see if we can get some scoring.
So if you get it at all, it counts. But if you get it in the correct spot, you get an additional point.
There we go.
All right. So who won last time? I can't even remember.
I think it was Chris.
All right. So Smitty, you get to start us off. Your number 5 disc in the Innova lineup of all time.
Well, we had an interesting cat on our other podcast last week, and he had one of these that he popped out. The Arrow, or the original Eagle. I felt like that was I mean, come on, first beveled edge disc. That's got to be important. Where'd that make your list for me, Ronnie?
I almost put it in the 5-hole, and I switched it out because I didn't think you were going to put it on there, and I almost put it on myself, but did not. But yeah,
hold up.
Nothing more influential, right? It's the most influential maybe disc that we've ever seen in our sport. So.
Ronnie, you went ahead and picked the Eagle as number 5 for Smitty. That is a direct hit.
It's not the. He went with the Arrow, not the. I went with the nowadays Eagle, not the original Eagle.
Oh,
stop talking yourself out of points, homeboy. I said the Arrow parentheses Eagle. Now, I think he's saying, Lucas, he wasn't talking about what we call the Eagle today.
Wow.
He and I are in agreement that the Arrow and the Eagle in this case are 2 different discs, but yes. I'd be willing to give it to you if you really want.
I can't do it, man. That's the Arrow as far as I'm concerned. The Arrow was the old Eagle. I'm not going to take points where points aren't deserved.
The integrity is high in here. Wow.
Well,
on that side.
He pointed at air. So
not on my computer, I didn't. You're right there.
Fair enough. No, I won't take them.
All right.
So I kind of went top 5 Innova discs, and discs that I've used, right? Discs that my top 5 discs. I threw a lot of Innova plastic over the course of time too, mixed in with my other stuff. And number 5, I went with Katana. When that one came out, man, I used that thing so much. That was such a good Frisbee. And then they kind of ruined it and changed the molding a little bit, and it wasn't as good as what it was. But when that disc first came out, that was super fast and super awesome, and I had a whole bunch of them.
Was it always that flippy?
No. The original Star Katanas were like not quite a force, but like they were real similar to a nuke, real fast and overstable late. But
yeah, because it's a 13 speed.
Yeah. Then they kind of ruined them and turned them into that flippy thing. So, but I went with the Katana.
Well, there's good news for you. I didn't pick that.
Well, that's not good news for me. But number 4, maybe the most popular. Well, one of the most popular Innova discs of all time. I went with the ADR at number 4. Another one I loved. I threw a ton of them. Climo AVRs. I threw them forever. Just couldn't putt with them too hard. They wouldn't hold. You couldn't get them to stay in the basket.
Well, I didn't put it on there for you. I did put it on there for me at number 4. So
I may have got a point then.
Yep, that's a point. Not in the right spot, but it's a point.
Is that our first point?
First point, surprisingly.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a fantastic disc. I putted with them for a long time when I first started playing, just the normal putting approaches. And there's just so many variations of it. And aren't all putters basically based off of that thing?
I think so. I mean, they're all, they're just, some are a little deeper than it. Some are a little bit, shallower. Some have a bead, some don't. But yeah, they're all somebody's AVR clone.
Yep. My number 3, there's an Innova guy. You look in his bag, this disc is in there, the T-Bird. Such a good disc, just perfectly straight flying, predictable fade at the end. I've thrown a lot of them.
They're great for people who like. They never was my cup of tea. But I didn't throw fairway discs until the last 4 or 5 or 6 years, right? That's
the Undertaker.
I was kind of that 12 or 4-speed guy. There was nothing really in between in my bag, and so T-Bird did not make my list. It's not one of my top 5, but I'm sure it's most people's top 5 for Innova.
Yeah, and
for me,
he got it, and he switched it though. So he had AVR at 3 and T-Bird at 4. Oh, he was so close to nailing your first 3 actually.
I feel like Smitty's probably going to have me pretty well dialed in from here. These are 3 of I got 3 Frisbees coming up that I really dug. Number 3, I've got what I had for you, not the arrow, but the eagle. That was the one fairway that I did throw. It was kind of one of the faster Frisbees when I first started playing the sport, and it was like one of my first real drivers, and I kept throwing them for a long time, and they were my rollers forever. Just beating in an old DS Eagle. That was the best roller I ever had.
What's my pick say, Lucas?
Yeah. So listen to this, Ronnie. So he didn't get it in the right spot, but listen to this. Eagle parentheses probably DX roller.
We've played golf with each other a long time, man. He knows. I mean, if I could still find somebody that had the old PFN Eagles that I could turn into rollers, I'd take every one of them I could get from them.
All right, so
is it me again here?
I think
it's you again.
This is one, Smitty, that Lucas probably doesn't even know of. And I putted with these things until I couldn't putt with them anymore because you couldn't find them. And that's when the Challenger hit my bag. And I guarantee Smitty has this one on his list. The Bulldog.
Yep. Surprisingly put it in number 5, though.
Man, that was so good. And I've never been the greatest putter, but I could putt with that thing.
And I do know that disc because I played some tournament and some older gentleman was using it. And I'm like, what is that? It reminds me of, it's like, was it really flat?
No, they're really small diameter putter. Kind of a deep but a thin rim, I guess, if that makes any sense. Kind of like really tapered rim. You just felt like you could really get it really fit my hand so good. And the R Pro ones are about the only ones you can find anymore for any kind of reasonable price, and it just wasn't the same Frisbee, different plastic.
I think that's what he plastic, had.
But yeah, them DX ones you can find on eBay every now and then, but they're going to set you back $100 or more. So they've I don't putt with them anymore. I'm not buying $100 putters, but they were good.
I didn't put it high on my list because Ronnie and Mark Martin are the only two guys I know that like it. But I knew it was going to be on there, so I had to put it on the list. So.
Yeah, it was on there.
I knew it would make the list. I just didn't know where. So we need my number 2 and my number 1, right?
Yes, sir.
My number 2 is going to make both of our lists. The Innova Rock. It's probably Ronnie's number 1. So, yeah, I mean, I guarantee you an Innova thrower has a rock in their bag. If not, they're missing out because they are really good flyers. They were for a lot of years for me. So,
yeah. And I hit that one on the head for you. And I don't think you even had to be an Innova thrower. If you were kind of someone who was willing to put anything in your bag for a long time, they were maybe the best mid range out there. You know, if you liked it a little more understable, you like the buzz. If you liked it a little shallower, you like the buzz. That's why I started throwing the Wasp, because it was the closest thing to a rock that I could find, and it didn't beat in quite as fast as a normal rock did. So that's really what changed me from throwing. I mean, I still throw the rock. I've got a whole tub full of them out there. I've slowly given most of them away, but yeah, you gotta love the end of a rock is that's what I learned how to play disc golf on for the most part.
Yeah, hold pin at Knockwood, Ronnie. That's how I know you throw a rock. You getting the 2 on that hole? Jeez, my knees. Still the sickest shot I've seen on that hole. Anyways.
I used to love the rock. I thought it was a great disc, and then I obviously went to the buzz and now all the truth varieties and whatever. When I feel a rock now, I'm like, oh my God, that feels like
it's gross.
A rock. I'm trying to throw a rock. I don't want this. A rock with a K on the end.
Yeah. I learned how to play disc golf, and that's what I learned on. And, you know, Nick Bunch was one of the guys that was one of the first real guys that kind of taught me how to play. And that dude threw nothing but rocks. And I still remember that. And Smitty, you probably remember that rock he had that had the rock drawn on it. That dude threw that thing until it was so beat in, it was more likely to go behind him than it was to go in front. But yeah, gotta love the rock.
That sounds like all Mace Man's discs more likely to go behind him. But that's another story. But he's a rock thrower.
I bet I know your number 1 too. I'm pretty sure I got your number 1 right also.
Yeah, well, it's the Destroyer.
I did.
Whoa, you missed me.
I did.
Wow. I've thrown a Destroyer twice in my entire life, and I loved it both times.
Never necessarily been a fan. I know the Innova guys, obviously, they throw them religiously, but yeah, I've always preferred the Nuke. I guess, you know, they're kind of the similar Frisbee, and I've always preferred one over the other, but that's not where I thought you were going.
Yeah, the Nuke's thicker though, right? Is that maybe why you like a little more? Do you like the thickness of the rim more?
Perhaps that might be. Yeah, I do like the little wider rims more than maybe some people do. Maybe that's from the early days of playing too. One of the Innova discs that I left off my list just because it's so old, but the Ram had that big wide rim, you know. So
that's one I haven't heard of.
Huh?
That's one I haven't heard of.
The Ram?
Yeah, no clue.
Tell me about Ron Converse with a Ram.
He could throw it good.
He could throw it pretty darn good. So you had one as the Destroyer number 1 for you. Obviously I had the Rock. So yeah, Rock is my favorite Innova disc of all time, and I think the best one they ever made.
So what'd you have for me at number 1?
I thought you were going to go Fire Chicken.
Oh, well, it's a great disc.
Thought you were going Fire Chicken.
It's good. Yeah. I mean,
I was surprised neither of you had it. Neither of you had it on your list. That's like, in my mind, I think of Destroyer and Firebird nowadays as probably the most popular Innova discs. when I immediately think Innova. So I was surprised no one had the Firebird.
Well, I went with what I thought were the four of the most popular Innova discs, and then the Arrow. And I knew that Ronnie, I should have known that he wasn't going to have the T-Bird on there. I've never seen him throw a T-Bird, but yeah, I was kind of stuck.
Oh, and it's weird that I never threw the T-Bird, because now I throw the Undertaker, so frequently, and they're very, very
close
similar discs. Once I kind of found that slot in my bag, I could, if I was an Innova guy now, I'm sure I would throw a ton of T-Birds. It's a slot that I just developed very late in my career.
All right. Well, after all things have shaken out, we have a tie because Ronnie's integrity didn't allow him to win. Ronnie has 4 points, so does Smitty. And I will tell you the points. Ronnie had a point for T-Bird, a point for AVR, and 2 points for Rock. Smitty had a point for Bulldog, a point for Eagle, and 2 points for Rock.
Well, I can tell you right now, we're not going to have a tie.
Whoa.
That's not going to happen.
What are we doing for a tiebreaker?
We've got to settle it somehow.
Rock, paper, scissors right now?
Ronnie's in. Now, last time we had a little controversy on this because Ronnie called me for a misslap. He said I went on the wrong hit. So we're going to go. He's getting ready. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, show. Right?
3 and go, or go on 3?
1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the way you do it.
All right. This is for everything.
No weird stuff. No dynamite.
Well, we're playing rock, paper, scissors, so that's already out the window.
All right. Good luck, man. Ready? 1, 2.
It's the lag. It's the lag. He can't see Smitty. It's just the lag. So just go with it. He's going with you.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3. That was Rock. You had Rock.
Yeah, you had Rock, but I'm telling you, for anyone watching that, it looked like Ronnie was so behind, and then it looked like he didn't know what to do. Like he just stuck there.
No, I was trying to remember what beat paper. I was trying to cheat and couldn't remember how.
Integrity. Remember, Lucas?
Yeah. He put himself in this position by having the integrity in first spot.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Well, congratulations, Smitty, I guess.
That's 2.5 minutes we'll never get back. What's the next segment?
Yeah. Let's move into it right now. Ba-ba-da-dum. Wheel of Debate. So last week, what a barn burner. We debated whether the DZ on an island should be makeable. And so you guys went back and forth. And you know what? At the end of the day, Smitty had 2 votes. Ronnie had 2 votes. We had our...
I'm not playing rock, paper, scissors. I'll just concede.
So, but we did have our highest amount of votes ever with 4. So thank you 4 for voting. And hopefully we see some more of you vote here soon. Here are our 9, only 9 categories left, 9 topics. If you think of one, let us know. We'll add it in here.
Or we can just play, or we can just do these 9 more and never have to do Wheel of Debate again.
Yeah, honestly, if these run out, we're done with this. So really, it's up to you, fans. It's up to you if you want us to continue this or not. All right, let's see what we have tonight. Ooh, I like this one. An official on each hole. I think this is a fun debate. So now we're going to spin for a pro and a con. So it was.
We got to know who's going first.
That's what
It's
we're about
you.
to decide before we spin.
You got
So
it. Smitty's
Ronnie
first.
Ronnie has conceded to the game of rock paper scissors, so he's giving it to Smitty to go first.
Unless winner gets to choose. Like, does winner defer?
Ooh.
Let this chump go first.
Well, if the winner chooses, Ronnie, does that bring rock paper scissors back into the equation?
No, but he's got to choose before we spin.
Okay, all right. So Smitty, do you want this to be yours or do you want it to go to Ronnie?
You're going second regardless. Do you want?
I'll go. Yeah, go ahead. Whatever it lands on, Ronnie can have.
Okay.
Okay.
He decided to go second.
All right. So this is for Ronnie.
Because I am with you. I think there's a little bit of an advantage of listening to the other argument first.
Okay. So Ronnie, you do think there should be an official on every hole. Smitty, you do not. Let's get a timer up. Ronnie, 60 seconds is on the clock. You're going to get to go first and tell us why you think there should be an official on every hole. Are you ready, sir?
Sure.
All right. 3, 2, 1, begin.
Well, are we playing a professional sport or are we not? Right? I mean, in what other professional endeavor do you find that there's not someone who's there to regulate the action? Yes, in professional ball golf, there's people who are, the players are making calls and enforcing penalties upon themselves, but there's always a rules official nearby, right? I think our sport has evolved to a point at a professional level where that needs to happen, and not just on the score on the groups that are being filmed for feature coverage. This needs to happen on every group for the entire event. Yes, that's going to require a lot more volunteers to be had. Maybe someone's we're going to need a volunteer to go out twice, but that's going to fall. That falls upon the tournament to make that happen. I think we need to do that to be a professional sport.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Ronnie. Good argument. Smitty, you get the other side. You're saying, nah, we shouldn't have officials on every hole. Smitty, are you ready, sir? 3, 2, 1, bring it.
How did Ronnie start that? Are we a professional sport? Well, then shouldn't the professionals be able to enforce the rules correctly at all times? We already have spotters on holes. These players argue and moan and groan about how are they going to treat that any different with an official? We have a huge problem with pace of play. Are we going to have 2 officials on par 4s and 3 on par 5s? So now your need for 18 officials has grown tremendously when you add 2 more on some holes and 1 more on another. Have you ever tried to get volunteers at a tournament? Not happening. We got volunteers for spotters. We got volunteers for UDIS. Do we have 18 certified TDs or officials in a town or a city? I don't think we're there, Ronnie.
Yeah, I just feel like maybe at some point we give the person that went first a chance to rebuttal. Maybe tonight's not the night, but I think that would maybe even out the playing field of this person getting to go second.
That's fair.
Just a thought.
Yeah, that's something we introduce. I'll be honest with you. If you did it this time, I don't think I would have anything to say. I really agree with Chris, right? If you're going to be a professional athlete, have the integrity to make calls against yourself, make calls that are difficult against your playing partners. However, I do think that it really would not be all that much of an undertaking that you have an official walking with every group, right? You have someone officially keeping score. Why not make that an official? I think that could be done. I think we're not there yet. It's just so hard to get. It's so hard to get volunteers. Lucas, you and I were standing right there at the first tee at the Dynamic Disc Open, and they were begging people to come out of the stands to carry the to carry the tablet to keep score for the group.
Mhm.
So it's just too hard to do for right now. But yeah, you would hope the professionality would be there from our athletes to be able to do that on their own.
You think it would be a card by card thing, though, huh?
Yeah, I
You
think
like
you'd
that?
have. I mean, that's what they do. That's what they do for professional golf. You have a rules official designated to your group.
I think eventually, I think that it should happen when we get there. And I think it would be something that should happen at majors and should happen at, world championships for sure. But I don't know if it's group by group. I'm wondering if it's maybe not hole by hole. That way,
Only 18.
well, and the hole one official is a 100% expert on hole one.
That's fair.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
I don't hate that either. Or even have, if even that's an undertaking that can't be had, maybe you put an official on the first 4 holes and another official on the next 4 holes and so on and so forth. Most of the holes are so geographically close to each other that it's probably not too much to do that. But I like that idea too. That way you have someone, because in our sport there's so many different rules per hole that maybe that's a good idea that Smitty is the hole 18 official. He knows where all the out of bounds are. He knows where the drop zone is. He can help the players, maneuver their way through that hole. Maybe that is a good idea. The only problem is when you get on long holes, well, often there's going to be 2 groups on the same hole. So how do you manage that?
right. And I think you just nailed something important. I think the officials should be there to help the players, not determine the calls, right? Let's go back to Dynamic Disc Open, when Haley called Missy for that footfall. Christine Jennings wasn't watching her feet, I wouldn't think, right? She wasn't actually there to be an official, but they went right to her and she nixed it right away. Maybe she was. I can't say she wasn't watching her feet, but I'm doubting it, man. Would you have been if you were just walking along with them?
I wasn't, and I was exclusively watching that player.
Right.
So yeah.
So, I mean, but to settle arguments, to be the final judge on, hey, we need our official over here. We need a ruling on this OB call. Not where did it go OB, not did they flip fault, but is this or is this not out of bounds? Emily Weatherman on that line, hole 18 at Dynamic Disc Open. If that's not a player making the final judgment, if that's an official for hole 18 making that final judgment, is there any questions to be had?
But I like that though, because you save your resources a little bit where you don't have to watch everything, right? You don't have to, if there's 2 people playing the hole, you can at least call the official over and say, hey, take a look at this. Tell me, break this argument. I think that's to be called upon is a good idea as well.
I think, I think I'm somewhere in between, right? I don't think they should be making calls, but I think they should be there to explain the rules to the players, right? They should be a resource for the player, and the players and then the group needs to make the decisions on their own. That's what they're there for. You're there to you're there to manage your score and the score of the others. You're there to make calls on the other players. But I do think there should be officials there to help them work through the rule book. That's really what I think the role of the rules official should be.
And I think the situation, if we go that way, I think one official could, like you said, take care of 2 or 3 holes, whether that's holes 1, 2, and 3 because they're in sequential order, or whether that's they take care of holes 7 and 14 because they run parallel to each other.
Sure.
So yeah, I think that's, to me, that's the no-brainer way to do it at this point. I get no-brainer because we just made it up on the spot, kind of, but you can wait. You can wait 2 or 3 minutes for the official to get there. They might be making a ruling over here on this island hole,
Mm-hmm.
and you have, I think I would much rather see that than
Yeah, I'm definitely someone who would rather see the rules applied correctly, especially in those big situations, rather than, a mistake made from a misplay or a rule just not being enforced when it should be or something like that. So if that's the case, then I'm always more for making that happen.
What do you think about giving spotters some power to make the final call? Like, not all the time. Sometimes players can see it, but let's rewind back to ladies throw pink, whatever they call it at USDGC. The most controversial call of all last year, the OB that got to go way up the fairway.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a slippery slope. I look, I'm not saying that I don't appreciate what those people do, because we've both played a lot of tournaments where there's a spotter out there and you're thankful that they're there. But I got to be honest with you, man. I don't want Travis Bailey making a call for me.
He won't. Don't worry.
It's this way. It's not, and I'm just using him to be funny, right? Because we know the hard time we had to give him about the DDO no call. But I just don't want someone that I'm not confident in their ability to either know the rules or enforce the rules to be making that call on me. I mean, I feel comfortable with you as my playing, competitors, and I feel confident that I know the rules. I don't want to leave it up to someone that I don't even know if they're a certified official.
Well, I think as an event coordinator, a tournament director, whatever you want to call yourselves, of some of these more prestigious events like the USDGC and Dynamic Disc Open, you can use a Jedi Knight to call OB on hole 16 from the tee pad. They still get the final say when they get up there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's in or out. Anybody could do that. But then go back to this USDGC thing, or what did they? Is it throw pink? Yeah, throw pink.
Yeah, they did it at Winthrop. Yeah,
it was LF, right?
No, it was all.
Oh, that's right.
You could put somebody that is a certified official and is trusty, but I mean, you probably have that situation on every hole, I guess, any of the long holes.
Well, and it's another thing where, look, why were we talking about that? Because we got to see the visual evidence on television, right? And that's not fair necessarily to the players either. And I know I always talk about ball golf and use examples from that, but Dustin Johnson lost a PGA championship 10 years ago because he was in the final group on Sunday and the camera saw him barely touch his club into the sand. He gained no advantage from doing it. And that's a penalty. It's a two-shot. That's a penalty for grounding your club in a hazard. And that went to someone saw it and they saw it on camera, and he didn't make the call. His playing competitor didn't make the call. The official on site didn't make the call, but they saw it happen on TV. He was assessed a 2-stroke penalty, had to go into a playoff, and he lost. And it's almost to the player's detriment in situations like that to be on coverage. And it's not the same rules by that way. Not every rule is being enforced the same way all the way down the field if you use that. And it's just it's great. It's great for us, but like I said, we would have we wouldn't know what happened if it wouldn't have been on live coverage.
Yep.
And they wouldn't have had a great angle. We thought we had a great angle. We were pretty sure that thing was out of bounds and never came back in. Net was never in bounds, and it was going to be essentially a rethrow. But the spotter, who was not in position, which is probably partially their fault, made a call that we don't believe was correct. So I don't know. I think it's a really slippery slope that you get onto, and it's really tough to know what's best.
And if that goes the other way, if the card says they're out and the spotter says they're in, and she goes back and throws back there from re-tees or whatever, it's a completely different argument the other way.
Yeah, and then you can wonder if she got screwed, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of them situations where, unfortunately, it's just impossible call to make it 350 feet away with a bunch of trees and limbs and undefined land between you and there. How do you make that call?
Man, that was a good segment. That was fun. Send us some ideas, people. We love that segment. Well, I do.
We all love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good debate.
I do enjoy talking about it. We just it's fun.
Yeah, I think it's always good to hear your real thoughts after, and just goes to show how well you both are at debating, because I know sometimes you're not liking what you get handed. So good work, fellas. Let's jump into the next segment, which is weekly picks. And we got to check out the OTB Open and our picks for the week. You didn't get to hear them live, folks. So you're going to find out right now who we chose and how we did. And I'm going to find out right now, too, because I haven't looked at who they got. All right. So Ronnie had Casey White. Smitty had
Ezra.
Okay. Ezra, and I had Luke Humphreys. And after all was said and done, Ezra finished 8th, Casey 21st, and Luke got 55th. Let's go, Luke. Thank you.
Well, I don't know that that's the way Luke's going to be just hoping to help you out there.
I tell you what, though, man, we are going to pick a stink to win. It's going to happen.
Well, if you keep picking Ezra Robinson, you're a lot more likely. And quit picking guys who are really, really good. I was looking good after one round with Casey. I think he was in the mid 50s, and then he played really well on the weekend. Casey White's a good player. I mean,
he is, man.
Probably should stop picking him too.
Yeah, he had a really hot, I think, second round, maybe a good second round, a really hot third round to vault him up there. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I got the red because, well, my dude does not suck. Quit picking it.
Was in the mix to win the golf tournament. Yeah.
Yes, again. I mean, he was just on lead card at Dynamic Disc Open. He was just in the mix at the Champions Cup. Why wouldn't you just think he's going to suck all of a sudden? What an idiot. And then Casey White averaged 31 finish before this weekend. So he actually did better than his average finish. And Luke has been averaging 21st and finished 55th. So Luke just gets the green.
Yeah, Luke has kind of that trend, though. I think we all know where he starts out really hot and he kind of fades towards this stretch of the season. So I was relying on that.
Well, I think a lot of that's course related. I think he's throwing driver when these guys are throwing driver putter.
Yeah, that could be it too. 100%. All right, let's look at sleepers. All right, Ronnie said a sleeper of McBeast. Smitty said Eagle, and I said Hebenheimer, which I don't think is still a bad pick, but I think I'm going to lose based off what I know of these gentlemen. Yes, so Eagle got 13th, so Smitty gets the green. Ronnie staying consistent with the yellows. McBeast 18th. Ronnie was probably thinking he was going to get the green for sure, and I took a red with a 27th finish, which I'm not unhappy with a Hebenheimer 20 top 30. But you boys did well here.
Yeah, these are all pretty good picks, really. I was really loving Paul for a large portion of the weekend, man, and just got uncharacteristically dumb in the third round. Just weird. I mean, I like we talked about earlier. It kind of looked like he was just pressing. There was no layup. It was full send every shot, even some of the 80-footers on slopes. And yeah, his poor course management cost me a green. So we're gonna have I'm gonna send a strongly worded email.
And I didn't have any real information for Eagle. I mean, all we had was last week or 2 weeks ago. But I mean, yeah, I don't know what I'd done if Eagle would have finished 22nd or 23rd. I think then we would have had an argument with Ronnie and I between Paul and Eagle, because that would still be a fantastic finish for the guy coming back from injury in a second tournament. But since he went ahead and did thin bird things, we'll take it. And Jake, man, he's been in the mix a lot this year, or on coverage a little bit this year. So he just throws the dadgum far. I think that we're going to see him next week at top 25 again, probably.
Yeah, I like his chances in Portland.
He throws the disc far, and that's why Eagle was a solid choice as well.
Speaking of which, while we're on Portland, do you know if they're playing Glendevere for every round, or is Blue Lake back in the mix?
I think it's just Glendevere. I haven't done much, but I'm pretty sure that's what Philo and Ian said. Lucas is doing some research.
Yep.
I thought I heard the same thing.
Yep, it's all Glendevere.
It makes sense. The tour has gone more to that model now. One course to learn. Put them on it. I was pretty pleased to see a couple of extra pins there at OTB at Swenson. That extra hole number 9 pin was pretty cool. Made for a really tough par 5. So hopefully maybe they have a little bit of something like that in for us at Glendevere. Although that's a great course on its own merit anyway.
It's a beautiful course.
Gorgeous. I think we talked about that before the year started. I think it's the prettiest course they play all year.
Yeah. It's up there for sure. All right. Let's look at our shines, gentlemen. Ronnie had Gannon Burr. Smitty had old Roll Tide himself, Matty O, and I had Niklas. And after all was said and done, 13th for Gannon Burr. Ronnie gets the green. Oh, Matty O and Niklas tied for 27th, but somehow we both got yellows.
We just care who wins on the show.
Oh, right. This one doesn't. Yeah, that's right. Okay. It's not their normal place.
As far as I know, 27 is equal to 27.
Okay. You really are good at math.
Seems like the math is mathing on that
one. All right. Very cool then. Good stuff.
So Lucas gets a stoplight. I get a stoplight. And Ronnie gets...
I get a win.
Yeah, I think that's a win.
Not everything's a competition, Ronnie.
Said every loser ever.
Well, speaking of competitions, let's jump into our Survivor
Speaking of
League.
losers.
What a perfect segue.
All right, Survivor League 2.0. We had some different picks this week, a lot of similar picks, and look how many people chose the same person. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people chose old Gannon Burr, and all of these people are safe. If Gannon would have just leaked one more stroke, all 7 would have been gone. But they are all in. So let's take a look at...
They don't have him anymore.
Yes, no more Gannon Burr for you all. And I will tell you all, this is the final 7 because the next people you're going to see are now out.
Oh, what? But where are you guys at?
Well, let me show you. Right here is Smitty and me. We chose AB. If he just doesn't do something dumb, just one hole, he's right there tied with Gannon, and we're safe. But, that's how the game works, and we're out of there. But we survived 3 weeks.
Hey, that's longer than we did last week. Last time.
Exactly. But there's some other people that have left us as well, and we're going to get to say goodbye to them now. Another red for a terrible pick who did not do their research, messaged me after, and I said, there's nothing I can do. He wasn't happy about it. I wasn't happy about it, but you got to do your research. Tyson chose Simon, who was not in attendance. He's gone.
Okay. At what point did Tyson message you about this?
He messaged me after I had already sent everyone's picks, which I didn't like. But it was before the tournament started, which would have been, let me see, I can give you an exact date. Let's get to the bottom of this, shall we?
I'm trying to be as sympathetic as I can here.
I think
he messaged me May 15th, which would have been Wednesday before the tournament.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a recommendation here, and my vote is obviously one. You guys can either overrule me or uphold it. Because he did that, sorry, Tyson, you're out this go around. But I'll tell you what, Survivor League 3.0 is on the win dummies. How about that?
All right, that's fair.
And then I think we should make a caveat to the rules here that because these guys are going to be dropping out.
Yeah.
Of tournaments coming down the stretch here. Maybe Lucas, when did you send the picks to everybody?
The Sunday before. Well, no. Oh, so I sent the picks. Let's see. I sent it the 13th. So I sent it on the Monday before the tournament.
I would say maybe hold on to those until it starts, right? Or that day. Because things are going to happen. Somebody's going to pick somebody, and we're going to be the day before the tournament, and they're going to come down with the flu and not be able to play or something.
Yeah. So do you think I need to police it and say, and look at everyone's picks and say, hey, bro, that person's not.
No. But if they reach out to you and say, hey, man, it's Wednesday night, the tournament starts tomorrow, but I just saw that Simon didn't make his flight, and he's having to withdraw, or Kristen Tatar broke her rib and now she's not coming over, or whatever. As long as it's before the start of the event and they reach out to you, then I say we can make that change, and we just alert everyone to the change that was made. Because like I said, we noticed this last year as it went deeper and deeper into the season. All of a sudden, when we were playing our pick six, we would have a lineup set it up even the night before, and then we wake up in the morning and Ricky's knee flared up because of the Lyme disease stuff or something like that. That happened on more than one occasion. So I think that's only fair that we allow someone the ability to change, as long as they reach out to you and say, hey, I need to make a correction.
I think that's fair. And I'm going to vote on the side of you, Ronnie. And that's 2 at least. Let's get Tyson in here for 3.0 on us.
And let's not give it the green light to flip-flop players either. I mean, your dude has to be not there.
Correct. You
can't pick Gannon-Bird and watch a video and Gannon-Bird says, this is the crappiest course with the crappiest baskets. My putt feels like crap. By the way, that probably means he's going to win, but
no, card laid's a card played unless the player withdraws.
Okay, that's fair.
I have a feeling Tyson will accept our.
Yeah, Tyson,
offering.
I'll be reaching out, and our last person that's going to be leaving us, going to be really sad to say goodbye to Blake, who chose Joey Buckets and Joey's worst performance of the year. You knew we were going to have one for Joey, but man, it's a sad day when it comes to a survivor not surviving.
I'm only sad about one of them on this list not surviving. I don't care about the other 3.
It's really selfish.
Yeah, it was sad what happened to Tyson. I'm with you.
All right. Well, so congratulations to the 7 of you: Schmidt, Keeney, Patsy, Alexis, Ronnie, Nick, and Shafe.
Go, Patsy!
Patsy still on it. Has not missed a pick all year. She's something special.
Something, all right.
All right, boys. That's going to do it for us. We're going to take a look at what we think is the best shot of the weekend. Can't wait to show it to you. But before we do, gentlemen, any shout outs you'd like to give going into the new week?
Yeah, I got to say thanks to everybody that came down to Wichita or came out and played Fort Father Fling on Saturday. Filled that baby up with 80 people and people on the wait list. And then to turn around Sunday and have 5 teams in addition to our team be brave enough to try a format that not everybody was 100% sure how it was going to play down. Course change 2 days before it because of mowing. Could have been a real disaster, but I think everybody was able to find a way to have fun and a good time. And I really appreciate everybody supporting me in all those endeavors all the time.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It
yeah,
was a blast.
and I echo those sentiments. Right, thanks for everyone coming and joining us. I had a good time. I don't think I played with or saw anybody that didn't say the same thing. And yeah, the fling is that's a long standing Kansas tournament now, and proud that I was one of the people that founded that one way back when. And then I think we may have stumbled on something really good with the Kansas Team Championships, hoping to double or triple the amount of teams that we had this year as we work out those kinks for next year. It was a good time. I think the format was fun, and can't wait to do it again, especially next year as defending champions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to tell you, congratulations to you two for the victory. You guys played extremely well. I do want to give my team a shout out. Disc and Deals Coverage had their own team. And you know what? We came up in second place. You wouldn't expect that out of us, baby. But, I had a good little squad there that really made sure that we were up there. So, and also, kudos to everyone that went to the Fling, because that was my first ever sponsored tournament. So Smitty and I worked together for that one. That was really cool. Thanks for everyone for coming to that. And this team championship, I'm telling you, if you didn't do it this year, what are you doing? This thing was cool. You had doubles, you had triples, you had match play all on the same day, and 25-mile-an-hour winds. What? Yeah, it was awesome. It was a good time. Echoing my partner's sentiments. And other than that, fellas, it was a good show. Happy we're doing this. And we'll catch you all on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Ezra needed that to have a chance at the top 5 himself.
Yeah. Big moment here. Gavin's like 20, maybe.
Wow. That's so good.
Cold-blooded. Oh,
That's the moment right there.
it left his hand in. It never left the pole.
It almost came out.
Which is pretty wild. I didn't notice that the first time.
Yeah.
That's insane. Oh, man, it came back to the cage.
Mm-hmm.